It's Friday, March 26th. This is The Street Live. I'm Katherine Ross, and I am joined by Jim Cramer. Jim, what are you watching in the markets today? We've got a pretty positive day so far.
Well, I think that you've got this situation where the market just wants to see interest rates go higher, as nutty as that is. And as soon as you saw rates tick up a little bit, that sent the industrials up, and then rates came down a little bit, and that managed to set up a situation where you saw the NASDAQ go up too. So right now, since we're entirely taking our cue from the bond market, it's a virtuous circle. And a lot of stocks that I follow that are chiefly what I would describe as being reopening stocks are just soaring. And L Brands is really helping that cause. And then the infrastructure stocks, I push L Brands at the 9:30. But the thing that was most impressive to me is I had Nucor on 2 days ago. And I waxed positive about Nucor last night. And Nucor is up $5 or 7%. It's an infrastructure play. And there's just it's a very impressive market today. I think that the meme stocks need more oomph. They need more oomph.
I want to get to L Brands and infrastructure stocks in just a moment, but I do want to start off with your real money column from Thursday, because you said, and I want to directly quote you here, Jim, do have some cash and stop borrowing money or doing nothing but buying options on stocks. How much cash do you think that investors should have? And Jim, maybe add in some crypto talk, since we've been covering non-fungible tokens so much this week.
I think that my orientation there is that they don't have any cash. They go full pedal to the metal, and they buy options. So even if they have any cash, it would be good. I mean, I think the market's had, look, you could have 7% cash and that'd be good. I'm not advocating a big cash position. I'm just advocating some cash. I have seen too many people get blown out in the last few weeks, and it is very worrisome to me, because I had always said the same thing. You bring them in, Reddit. You bring them in. You bring them in Wall Street bets. And once they're in, we'll teach them the fundamentals. And they've got to stick around a little longer to learn the fundamentals, because this rotation has completely mystified a lot of people. And the pain that we had in the high growth stocks that everybody seemed to love in that Reddit crowd, well, they're just hideous. And that's so I was just trying to save people before they get blown out. I remember there were a lot of people who read Confessions of a Street Addict, and I'd see them on the street, and they at one point owned a lot of stocks, and they kind of just stopped looking at their statement and then blew them out. And I am really trying to prevent that. I think my motives have been questioned by people in my Twitter file, and I've come right back and questioned their motives, because my motive is pretty clear. I do it at all times. I want people in the stock market. I want them to make money. I mean, if those are bad motives, then I think that if you think that they're bad motives, I think you're a comic.
Jim, speaking of learning, we have spent this entire week talking about non-fungible tokens, and because of that, you actually have now exposure to Ethereum. So let's use this as a learning opportunity for those watching. You have Bitcoin, you have Ethereum. Is having two different cryptocurrencies a good play right now?
I mean, just only for me to watch Ethereum. I mean, because I only bought $20,000 of Ethereum and at 12, and I'm just trying to keep track of it. Now, why did I do this? Okay, there was a auction for the digital auction token for NFT for 3 iconic Time magazine covers. I work for Time, and always have a fondness for it. There were 3. There was Is Fiat Dead? That went for 50 Ethereum. And Fiat had a dollar sign. That's $80,000. There is Truth Dead? Oh no, these are actually, it went higher than that. The final was even higher than that. Just a second. Is Fiat Dead? What the hell? They just gave me these really prices. The prices were so insane. They were insane. And I've got to tell you, I think that when we look at what they went for, the one that I was trying to buy for $20,000, it went for more than $100,000. I mean, that's just crazy. And I have to tell you, I question that. See, Is God Dead? The upper left, that went for more than $100,000. I'm not sure that is really what it should be. It went for just the final price was $110,000. It was the lowest of the three. The Is Truth Dead went for the most. And I wonder whether that isn't because the Is God Dead is from 1966, and I remember when it came out, and was much the subject at the dinner table. So I continue to have people, I want people to focus on this. I know a lot of the people who've decided to give up on stocks have gone to NFTs. So again, that's another thing that I'm following, Katherine, which is the departure. A lot of young people departure because they just think it's rigged. I see a lot of it's rigged. I don't know if you're seeing that, rigged against them. And a lot of the stocks that we follow, frankly, been cut by about in half. Time is God Dead 110. Time is here it is. This is great. Fiat Dead went for 131,000, and Is Truth Dead went for 138,000. So you have to question, maybe you own something that's like, I don't know, those are digital tokens. Lisa felt that was insane. And I feel like if I had bought Is God Dead and I entered it right now, I bet you I'd get much more than I paid for.
Which is an ongoing conversation that we'll continue to have, Jim, about whether or not NFTs really gain momentum once they get bought, or whether or not they kind of lose some traction there. So we'll continue to have that conversation over here.
It's really worth following because, and again, I go back to this. I'm no expert. I want you to become the expert. I'm a stock guy, and I'm not going to change. You don't want Mel Kiper to opine about the NCAA. But I will point out that it's very easy to do an auction. There was a very good article in the New York Times about how to do it. And I think that a lot of the people who went in and bought DoorDash, or they went and they bought Snowflake, or they bought a number of stocks that, they're very high multiple, high sales, have lost money. And those are the people who are in despair. And I talked about that last night. And people have to understand, I'm not speaking, but there's no despair if you own Deere, okay? There's no despair if you own Pepsi. There's no despair if you own Micron. But it's what I'm talking about are the companies that were NASDAQ that got floated. That's where the despair is.
So, Jim, at the beginning of the show, you started talking about infrastructure stocks, and I want to circle back to that because for those of you who missed Mad Money last night, one of Jim's key sections was infrastructure stocks. As he mentioned, Nucor was one of the names. We know that President Biden's focus right now is on this infrastructure bill. For investors both young and older, is an infrastructure name kind of a key play for your portfolio at this point?
I think that you could have been in Nucor. URI is a very good infrastructure play. Obviously, Caterpillar. I'm doing a lot of work on KBR as an infrastructure play. But I wish I'd bought Nucor. It really snuck up on me. We had made some money in Nucor before as an infrastructure play, Caterpillar. But my major focus on infrastructure, we have some DuPont. It's okay for that. But I haven't done enough. I did not do enough infrastructure. And the reason I didn't is because I am very doubtful that Senate is ever going to pass any infrastructure. There's just not enough Republicans. I mean, I'm sorry. There's not enough Democrats to override the Republicans because there'd probably be two Democrats who break ranks and be against infra because the economy is coming back so strongly.
And this will definitely be a topic that we will also, on top of NFTs and crypto, be monitoring because it is very important to see, especially for the economic rebound, how this bill goes on Capitol Hill. Jim, one other stock that you mentioned at the top of the show was L Brands, and I want to take an opportunity to kind of dig into this because it was also your mad dash this morning. Could this be an okay reopening play? Or, Jim, and we haven't talked about this for a while, do we still have the death of the mall on our hands?
No, we don't. I mean, I think people are out there spending. Matthew Boss recommending the stock's up 70%. He actually recommended sale right here. Then it went down to 18. He recommended buy, and now and it's been a remarkable run. That's Bath and Body Works and Victoria's Secret. But I think that we all have to look at mall stocks and try to figure out whether they're doing well. Someone the other day on the lightning round called me about VF Corp. And I said, oh, you got to stick with that one because that's sold at the mall. So, we've gone from this period where in the mall was awful to now questioning whether mall-based stores really are on their last legs.
Well, and one mall-based store that we have talked about extensively this week is GameStop. It rebounded over 53% in trading
Yeah,
yesterday.
but it's only up 22. Um, you need more power bursts if it's going to keep going higher here. There are some people coming in and shorting it right here.
Well, and it's interesting. We've talked, I mean, I feel like we've covered as much as we can with this, but it's still a stock that we need to be watching, especially with Wall Street bets. And I know your feelings, and I saw your tweets this morning about Wall Street bets, Jim. You say that the price target that you have is about $20, but if the stock was to hold at 150 to 250, do you think it's possible?
Well, I don't know. I mean, that guy, Kurt Wolf, he was the second most important guy, I think, on the strategic committee. Dumped a huge amount of stock in the teens and at 30. Now, you could say he's a knucklehead because how did he not see the stock was going to go to 400? Or you could say he assessed what the company was worth and didn't think it was worth more than 30. And he is very much of an insider. I'm just following, just watching to see if they come in and buy the 240, 250 calls for April. That's very difficult to hedge for any option maker. So it's entirely possible that they kind of blitz the options and then come in with a common stock and really just power the stock through 250. I think they can get there today.
So I know for some
viewers, it's struggling 200 level, but let's see what happens.
I know that it might seem like Groundhog Day for some viewers because we keep talking about the same topics, but of course I would be remiss if I didn't bring up SPACs because WeWork is finally coming public via a SPAC with BOX. Is this a SPAC to avoid in your eyes, or do you need to do more work on it, Jim?
No, it's not. It's got Barry Sternlicht, and I identified him the other day as being very, very good. Barry is a big believer in the flexible work situation. You don't know how many people are going to come back to work, so don't you want to start it with some sort of temporary WeWork position? This economy may be the perfect environment for WeWork. And so I think the stock's going to work well.
All right, Jim, and let's end our show by talking about Ford. But I do want to keep this tight because I want to head on over to our Action Alerts Plus Daily Rundown show after this and talk about Nike, because there's one analyst note that I think that our viewers are really going to be intrigued about. But so the news around Ford is that it's idling production of its F-150 through Sunday because of the global semiconductor shortage. Is the potential volume here that could be lost worrying as an investor?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's not, we own it for the Travel Trust, and we got to hope that these, that for the side they need, because they're going to be foregoing, 1.5 billion to 2 billion. It's going to be on the high side, and 2 billion is a lot of money. So they got to start, they better find those chips.
All right, and with that, we are heading on over to our Action Alerts Plus Daily Rundown show. Thank you for watching this week. I'm Katherine Ross, and we'll see you on Monday.